I've watched a lot of your Japanese, from your time in Japan and New Japan. How was your time in Japan?
Man, you're going to have to be more specific. Simply based on the fact that the very first time I went to Japan was like 2004, and the last time I went was 2016. I worked for three different companies. I've been over there like over 50 times. Each time was different, with all due respect to the respective companies. As far as learning, I took something away from all of them, especially Zero One, especially New Japan. But you know, if you want me to talk about the culture, if you want me to talk about the wrestling, if you want me to talk about the people, because they're all different facets of it.
Yeah, how was the wrestling? Coming from the American background and then going into Japan, was it an adjustment to, do the Japanese style wrestling?
Yeah, there was an adjustment in the sense that there's always an adjustment. Like, no matter what company it is, whether it's domestic or international, you're going to have to adjust to whatever the crowd is, whatever your opponent does, whatever that particular company has in place as far as what's working and what's not. Uh, Japanese style wrestling obviously is very different, and they're trained differently, of course, than we are in the U.S. Um, I learned a lot about it, but at the same time, I didn't get brought over there to be a Japanese wrestler. I got brought over there because I was what I was. And you got to remember that if you're somebody who's being brought in as a specific product, as a specific wrestler.
Right, right. That's a very it's interesting.
Right? Like they don't want you to be whatever. They want you to be yourself. They want you to be whatever it was that caught their eye. So yeah, but that was kind of Japanese wrestling 101.
Okay. And then matched up with Kushida as the time splitters. How was it working with Kushida?
Oh, awesome. I met him about 4 years before that. I think since this work doing it started, he's 2 weeks older than me. We're both Geminis, both born in May. But he'd only been wrestling about half the time I had at that point. So I had quite a bit of experience. Fun fact, he used to actually work for one of the Japanese newspapers and had come to see me wrestle as Zero One Max and Corkin and reported on it before he ever debuted as a pro. I thought that was kind of cool. We became brothers. I was the best man at his wedding. He was my best friend over there. We just couldn't have gelled more efficiently. And he had spent some time at Scott DeBoer School in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. And I had met him there. And he was good then. So to see him 4 years later and see that growth, and then for us to grow together as a team, that's kind of where the name came from. Time splitters. Like, we were going to split our time, and it was going to take us separately to get to the top by teaming together and working with each other and training together and being friends, and we did that. Also, it's named after a video game. So I feel very privileged and honored to have actually picked that name and had it stuck.
Right, yeah, yeah, very cool wrestler. So about a year ago, you left ROH. Why did you step away from ROH a year ago?
I was going through some personal stuff. I was in school at the time as well, and when you're working in the medical field or you're aspiring to do so, you have to do something called clinical rotations, and basically you get sent away. In my case, it was about an hour and a half away from home, working at a clinic 5 days a week, and then another clinic that was about an hour away, again 5 days a week. And you do that for a long time. Basically work in the field to gain that experience. I was burnt out also just from trying to be a student and wrestle full time and produce at a high level and wear all these different hats as a friend, as a husband, as a homeowner, as a son, as a brother. And it just got to be overwhelming. And I was fried mentally, to go through that and what I did, I definitely stretched myself too thin. I realize that now. But, I got through it, and I'm happy I went through it as well because it forced me to grow.
Right, yeah. So how has the last year been away, like, post ROH, for the last year? What have you been up to?
Personally, it was training like I had to go through a lot of growth and a lot of life changes. And, getting divorced, which I did about a year ago, will force you to change and at least reflect on yourself if you're wise. Losing Alex Shelley is part of my identity, just being Patrick Martin, um, a student in the physical therapy field. It was massively shocking. I didn't realize how much I kind of valued wrestling until it was taken away. Voluntarily, yeah, but I didn't have it as part of my life anymore. I didn't know if it would come back. And I missed my friends. I missed the creativity. I missed the athleticism. I missed everything about it. I was without income and paying to go to school, which, that's not anything abnormal for our generation. Especially, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 36, and I don't know a single person who hasn't had to take out a student loan who's my age, younger, older. And then living far away from home to do these clinical rotations, and then having to complete these, and then study for board exams, and then trying to find a job in the field. It was just so much to deal with and so different than what I had been used to for the majority of my life. And it really made me appreciate how lucky and fortunate I've been in pro wrestling.
Yeah, that's interesting because I have a lot of student loan debt myself. Went into psychology and did clinical rotations through that field and
Nice.
racked up a ton of debt. So
yeah, dude, no doubt. I mean, this is my second degree. It's my second bachelor's. So, as the past 10 years, I think I've been in school like 8 of them. It's just insane. But it's how you play the game. If you want to work in a field or get a job that's decent, and that's ultimately why I did it. I didn't want to have wrestling control me, and I decided on that path in probably 2009 when I was real unhappy at TNA. I didn't want to have wrestling tell me what to do and be beholden to these people who, quite frankly, I thought were making poor decisions. I wanted that freedom and I wanted that autonomy. And I told myself, I'm going to go back to school and I'm going to work really hard and I'm going to be able to love wrestling on my terms. And there were breaks in between. Like, I was able to go to New Japan. I loved it there. But, when you get married, then you consider starting a life at home on a different level. And I thought, okay, well, I'll go back to school again. And maybe that'll be the answer. And I don't know that it was. It certainly wasn't for a marriage. That didn't work out. And that's okay. Like, these things don't always work out. But yeah, to go into a medical field, as you know, psychology is mental health, right? And to have to do those clinical rotations, I mean, it's just tens of thousands of dollars, just mind-boggling to me.
yeah, no, exactly. I totally get where you're coming from and being just out of the student lifestyle a couple of years ago, and then I got like shit. I got $100,000 of student debt. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, what else do you do if you want to hit that level? Unless you're well off or you come from a well off family. Most of us don't, and it's especially pivotal in the medical field. Like you're given at least 4 years of education for anything. Let alone becoming a doctor, which is something I'm looking into now. But at the same time, it's like, do I really want to take on 6 figures of debt like for the rest of my life? So who knows?
yeah, no, it's a tough decision. Yeah, nothing right or no right decision in it.
Yeah, no wrong with either, right? It's just whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And then so you came back recently to ROH. So what made you jump back into wrestling after a year or so?
I always figured I might come back. I always kind of had that in the back of my mind. I wasn't totally sure because you can't predict what life's going to throw at you. One of the things I realized, because I actually went to a psychologist myself when I went through divorce, I wanted to fix what I could to kind of be my own advocate in terms of growth. I realized that I tried to control too much. And, even when I was in school and wrestling, it was, okay, I'm going to control my future in wrestling by controlling this school and education path and having steps 1 through 10. And if I can do steps 1 through 10, then I'll be happy. And that's just not how it really works. You know, human emotions are chaos in the end. And my love of wrestling just never went away. And I didn't pay close attention to wrestling, but I paid enough attention to see, like, wow, there's some really cool stuff happening. I just felt like I had more to offer. And having been in the tag team for X amount of years, it's like, well, you know, it'd be cool to have, like, it just be on my own, too. Ring of Honor was so good to me. They were so good to me in terms of helping me out with school and being malleable with the schedule that I had to keep. Because as you know, like when you're in a medical program, it's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. And there's times where you have to be there to work with patients. Like you can't not. I always wanted to give them first dibs. If they wanted me to come back more, I was going to go back there first. I respect them that much, and I love being there that much, especially now with all the new talent they have.
Right, yeah. And so you also worked for Smash Wrestling a few years ago, in the Toronto area. How was that for you?
Oh, it was awesome. I mean, I would really like to come back to Smash. Former champion, I might add. I only had a couple matches there, but it was just such a professional production, and they had at the time, and I'm sure they still do, like a ton of really good homegrown talent, and they brought in a ton of really good talent too. I couldn't think of a better independent wrestling company that I would love to participate for going forward. Um, in the area, you know, Detroit's not too far from Toronto or that region in general. And I used to wrestle for UWA in Mississauga for years and years and years, and I've always had a good rapport with those fans, like in that particular part of Ontario. I really kind of missed their enthusiasm and I missed their grittiness, and I always thought they were kind of like a cool punk rock niche crowd to perform in front of, and it would be neat to go back.
Yeah, that's cool. So what are your future goals, whether, wrestling wise or life wise? Yeah, what's next? Like, what's next for you?
I mean, quite frankly, I'm in a good spot in life. I work in the field I want to work in terms of health. I work for the company I want to work for in terms of pro wrestling. I try to not think too much about it. You know, I try to have a basic idea of where I'm going, but not be so married to the idea and not put so much emphasis on it has to be this. I think for me, at least, it's good to just kind of take it day by day or week by week or month by month, but anything beyond that, I just don't need to do. Once you get so attached to the idea of a thought being the goal, being happiness, or being success, then everything else can pale in comparison. And I certainly want to just enjoy everything for what it is as it comes to me.
That's cool, yeah. So what can fans expect? You obviously have a big match coming up with Matt Taven, World, Championship. What can fans expect in Toronto for that?
Like, I would love to say, oh yeah, you're going to see a new champion. I would love to say I'm going to take a belt from Matt Taven. But realistically speaking, I understand there's a very good chance that's not going to happen. Matt got to where he is because he's been in Ring of Honor a long time, and he's worked really, really, really hard, and he's really, really good. I, on the other hand, have absolutely nothing to lose. So I can't guarantee a victory, nor would I want to, and then let somebody down. What I can guarantee is that they're going to see me, and they're going to see me wrestle with my heart. They're going to see me wear it on my sleeve, and then leave it in the ring. And again, having been away for a year, I realized pretty quickly there's no guarantee that I'm never going to wrestle again in Toronto. So if I can just leave some sort of emotional imprint on them or some sort of memory for them, I'll consider that a victory.